Right, hello everybody. 안녕하세요. 제 이름은 Brandon입니다.
네, 안녕하세요. 저는 수민이라고 합니다.
And today we're going to be talking about Sogang's language learning programs, specifically KAP200 and KGP200, and the differences between them, maybe why you'd want to take either one. Both of us actually have taken classes from both the morning class and the afternoon class, so that kind of gives us a unique perspective on how to kind of explain those differences.
And pick which one you feel is either your Korean language level or what just goes with your schedule.
From your experiences, what are some of the biggest key differences between the morning class and the afternoon class?
Well, first I actually took the afternoon class, and for me that just helped with my scheduling, but I soon learned that the A in afternoon didn't actually mean afternoon, it meant academic.
Right.
And I'm not trying to take any certain test, or I'm not trying to get into a Korean university, which is why someone would actually probably want to take the afternoon class. You mostly study more academic things, like what you would actually do at a daehakyo, a college, versus the morning, which is more just general day-to-day living, maybe a little bit more cultural understanding, but I tended to like the morning class more. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, so I just recently switched to the morning class, so I haven't actually completed a full level. I had to retake level 3.
We both did.
I failed level 3 in the afternoon class because I didn't like the way it was structured, and I had I struggled a lot to adjust to it.
I feel like it kind of went a little too fast.
Yeah.
And just stuff that we don't really need. We're not going to college. We're not taking the TOPIK test. So just general things are kind of more what we needed.
Yeah, so I guess we should say the biggest differences between the two is you are not really realized until you get to level 3. So if you're not planning on taking your Korean language learning at least to level 3, you can stop the video right here because either one of the classes will do exactly the same for you. Alright, so one of the things that we want to do is kind of explain the differences between, I said that there's different books that you're going to use for either the morning or the afternoon class. That's not entirely true. You do use some of the same books for each, but there is a different book, particularly the writing class, that's different. And this, I think, goes into a lot of why I didn't particularly enjoy the afternoon class as much as I think I could have, is that basically the morning class's writing book is essentially meant to be like a sort of supplement to everything else that you're doing. And everything that you're doing in the writing class gets reinforced in other classes and vice versa. Whereas the afternoon class's writing class is very, very different, and all of the tano and even some of the munbap and things like that you learn in this book are not covered anywhere else in any of your other classes. So you really have to know it. Yeah, and for the final it matters, right? Like there's grammar and stuff and words in there that you need to know.
It covers everything.
Yeah, but that's not anywhere else. Which kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I really like the morning class's approach of everything is tied in together. Like there's never something you learn often like the listening class that you're never going to see again. There's never anything that you learn in the writing class that you're never going to encounter again.
Exactly.
It all is like this working sort of package, which that was my experience.
Yeah, no, exactly the same experience.
So this is the back of the afternoon class writing book, and as you can see, there's a lot of words back here. These are sort of words that you have to know for each of the chapters, and a lot of them, like I said, are not reinforced in anywhere else in the program. So, and I think that the problem I had is because I didn't plan on going into university afterwards. A lot of the words that you learn, like 선택 과목. Like elective classes not required for graduation. A lot of these words, like required major courses, 전공 필수 과목.
You really don't need, and you actually don't learn them in the morning class.
Exactly.
Because you don't need them.
Right. So I mean, these are classes that if you're planning on going to a university, important probably. But if you're not, you're gonna have a really hard time staying interested. And I think when you're learning a language,
staying interested. I definitely lost interest when you started talking about like the Tosogon and having to do certain elective classes and whatnot.
Yeah, and you'll notice too, a lot of the writing in this book, it's very short. You'll notice in contrast to the other book that I have, a lot of the writing is just a lot of free-form writing. This is just a lot of like correcting things and just little, fixing little errors here and there on, these little stories that you read. A lot less writing than a writing class should have. I mean, here's actually some good writing, but I feel like it was maybe once a week where it would actually do
one actually
real writing.
Exactly. It was never really on a different set of paper.
Yeah, and by contrast, you'll see. So this is the morning class book, and there seems to be just a lot more free writing space. Like I said, I'm still kind of in the early stages, and a lot of these actually will get handouts instead of writing on these, but. There's just every day, every other day, we're writing these big
long stories
and
things.
Yeah, like these long, 15, 20 line stories that really just reinforce what you learn and everything else. And so that was a really big selling point for me. I'm only a few weeks into this, the morning class, and I love it. I recommend it to everybody.
I feel like I understand more, and I can kind of put what I learned there into daily conversation compared to the afternoon class, which I don't talk about elective classes or my major at all in daily life. I talk about, my day and maybe some things that I really like.
So one of the last things I want to talk about is there is a difference between the types of students and where they're from for each of the different morning and afternoon classes. For instance, in the afternoon classes, you're going to encounter a lot more Chinese students, Chinese international students that intend to maybe only take up to level 3 or level 4, and then they want to go straight into university. They're just trying to get enough to pass TOPIK 4, so then they can apply for Sogang directly or some other university.
In the afternoon class, too, I actually found that not a lot of Westerners take it. I was actually the only Westerner in my class.
Yeah, me too.
Everyone was either Chinese, Japanese, or Vietnamese. And in terms of that way, I really liked it more than my morning class due to the fact in my morning class, there was probably about 5 Westerners and then the rest were Japanese, Chinese. In the afternoon, I was able to speak Korean more because no one else knew either English enough or not English at all. So I was able to practice, I guess, more of my Korean. In the morning class, definitely during Shwinin Shigan, our rest time, I was able to speak English to people. I don't know, do you think it's a little easier that way in terms of not knowing things, or would you prefer just straight only talking in Korean?
I think initially one of the things that attracted me to the afternoon class was that, in fact, the afternoon class just typically has less Westerners. And that's appealing because, you always, at least when you're in America, there's lots of international students, and you think, man, they all hang out together. It's going to make it really hard for them to, get a good grasp on English if they're just all hanging out together. So I was like, well, I'm not going to be that person, right? I'm not going to be that way. But, I think the longer I was sort of I kind of felt isolated from these groups.
Because they tend to actually speak in their own language.
Absolutely.
So we don't know Chinese or Japanese, so we're just kind of sitting there.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like, hey, can we speak in Korean?
Yeah,
Because I want to be part of this.
Right.
But sometimes you're not quite able to do that in the afternoon class.
Yeah, and you have to be realistic. These days during break times, people will go out and talk on the phone, or they will play phone games or just be on their phone, right? So it's not like you're getting much more practice in with your classmates, and you're probably not hanging out with them outside of class all that much. Some people did. I did occasionally, and that was really cool. But if that's what you're basing the choice on, I think for me, I'm having a little bit easier time, a little bit better time in the morning class because I've actually formed a study group already with students that are there, and it's the fact that I can kind of do that in English and we can get along and we hang out together.
And kind of figure out different meanings of the words, because a lot of Korean, we don't have an actual...
It's a feeling.
Yeah, it's a feeling. It's not an actual word translation.
Right.
So you can ask, what is this word? Well, it's kind of when you feel that thing. Yeah. So it's a little easier to talk to someone who speaks English or your native language about that.
Also, making friends here initially can be difficult. So if you feel like you're the type of person that maybe you're coming to Korea, you don't know anyone, you want some friends, especially if you're a native English speaker or Westerner, I recommend the morning class.
Yeah.
I would.
So one of the other things I would like to talk about is actually the age difference between the afternoon class and the morning class. I am on the scale of the afternoon class. I'm a bit older than most of the kids.
I was the oldest, almost always.
I think I was the oldest, actually. Sure. Everyone else was, just in their really late teens or really early 20s. Mm-hmm. And so they were kind of still in that high school mentality of maybe not even taking school very seriously, not paying attention in class, which I found very, not only disrespectful, but distracting. Yeah. In the morning class, the ages tend to vary more. I actually had someone who was in her late 50s in my class from Japan, and that made me feel a little bit more like people are there to study and trying to figure out things. I
mean, not in my class exactly, but like classes across the hall, because you do interact with a lot of the other classes. They try to keep like the same levels really close together. So like you go out and practice some of your dialogue and you go back and forth between the other classes. But yeah, some of the other, I met a gal when we did some of the classroom exchanges. I met a gal who her husband is Korean, and so she's learning Korean, and I also met a guy whose wife is Korean, and that's why he's in the class. So you do meet a lot more people who are in there for different reasons rather than just like I want to learn Korean and go to college and things like that. So
I agree with that.
Yeah. If you like this video, I'm gonna be trying to make similar things like this in the future. More information about Sogang, more information about life in Korea. So feel free to comment below. Come back. Feel free to come back. So come back anytime.
Exactly. Come back and he's gonna be here and maybe I'll pop in.
Let's come back and hang out.
Hey.
You might see some meeting again.
Exactly.
So,
with a drink.
Yeah.
Okay. 네, 지금까지 수민하고
브랜든이었습니다. 질문 있으면 코멘트로 남겨주세요.
잘 들어주셔서 감사합니다.
안녕히 계세요.